Hello, hi, this is Siva here again, continuing the Wandering Minds from where it was left out. As you know, that it all started off with my wandering mind, the curiosity of knowing uh, what is AD and BC and what lies in between these two. So it took me through a rabbit hole. So what I've shared is it started off by talking about the article Goes in the Calendar. And then after that, I went into sharing with you all how I asked AI to assist in feeding my curious mind on certain questions, which basically sprouted from wanting to know what is AD and BC, and then went into another question, what is the time gap between them, and then spoke about why Jesus was given much preference rather than other terminologies in other religious leaders. And then we also went into why victors actually wrote the history. So history is actually flawed if all perspectives are accounted. So we spoke about that. And then after that, we went into the next topic that we're going to discuss now is if all that thing has happened historically and all that, the same would have happened to science. So I asked the question about science, how science would have been impacted with all this understanding. I'm going to read you what Gemini, that's the AI tool that I use. So I asked, I guess same goes for science. So that is where I'm studying from. This is from the questions of, asking about AD, the history of it, and why it was written like that, what was the shift that took place. It spoke about Roman calendars, empires, and how the victors wrote. And also now we're going to talk about science. What's the impact of science in this? You've hit on a very sophisticated point. While we like to think of science as a collection of absolute truths, it actually functions a lot like history. It's a human narrative that changes based on who has the best tool, the most funding, and loudest voice at that time. It's very important. The tool, the funding, who actually gave the funding to acquire the tool, and who was the loudest voice at that time who spoke about it. We all know during COVID, certain things happened where people like Anthony Fauci spoke about, he became the voice. The tool was used more in scientific approach. And now the new stuffs are being unearthed. So I'm not going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about something in line with that. So number one, this is what it said, the standard perspective. For centuries, science was dominated by a specific demographic, mostly Western European men. This led to significant flaws in how we understood the world. In medicine, for decades, heart attack symptoms were studied primarily in men because women often experienced different symptoms. They were frequently misdiagnosed. The standard was bias. In archaeology, when Victorian era scientists found warrior graves with weapons, they automatically assumed the skeletons were male. Modern DNA testing has proven many were actually women. Number two, the winner of the theory. Science often follows the person with the most prestige. Example, in ancient Greece, Aristotle was so respected that his incorrect idea that heavier objects fall faster than lighter ones was accepted as fact nearly 2000 years. Wow. It took Galileo dropping weights of a tower to prove him wrong. The winner of the debate isn't always the one who is right. They are just the one people believe. Belief is very important at the time and the era when it was spoken. Number three, science is less wrong over time. The big difference between science and history is that science is designed to be proven wrong. It's a process of elimination. We used to think the earth was the center of the universe, geocentrism. Then we realized the sun was the center, heliocentrism. Now we know the sun is just one star in a massive expanding universe, and science keeps changing. The flaw is the feature. The fact that science is flawed is actually why it works. If we didn't account for new perspectives or admit our old versions were wrong, we would still be using leeches to cure fevers. Oh, wow. Leeches for fever. Ooh. As we include more diverse scientists from different cultures, genders, and background, we catch the blind spots that the previous winners missed. Fun fact, even Albert Einstein hated some parts of quantum mechanics because they didn't fit his perspective of how the universe should work. He was eventually proven wrong by the next generation. So I went on to ask the next question. Is there a case where an important theory or formula changed due to advancement of tool? Now, this is interesting because tools change, science changes, engineering makes the change. Absolutely. In science, your truth is often limited by the quality of your eyes, the tools you use to see the world. When a tool gets a major upgrade, it doesn't just tweak a formula, it just blows the old one out of existence. One of the most famous examples of this involves the expansion of the universe, the theory, the static universe. Before the 1920s, the greatest minds, including Albert Einstein, assumed the universe was static, not moving, just sitting there. Einstein even added a fudge factor to his general relativity equation called the cosmological constant. As you can see, that's the sign. Just to keep the universe still in his maths. In his maths. The tool, the Hooker telescope. In 1923, Edwin Hubble started using the 100-inch Hooker telescope at Mount Wilson. At the time, it was the most powerful eyes on the planet. The change, Hubble's law. Then came the change, right? With this new tool, Hubble could see the standard candles, specific stars that were much further away than anyone had ever seen. He noticed that the light from distant galaxies was red shifted, meaning they were moving away from us. That led to Hubble's law expressed as this formula. V equals to HOD. V stands for velocity at which the galaxy is moving away. HO is the Hubble constant, a constant was used. D is the distance from us. The result, Einstein realized his static formula was wrong. He famously called cosmological constant his biggest blunder. So everything is moving, nothing is permanent, it's all changing. What's outside is also inside. When you go and get a snapshot of your health, X-ray, CT scan or whatever, you can't get it back again because it changes. It's just like the saying, there's never the same man going to the same river twice, right? Now, other cases where tools changed everything. These are the examples. The old theory, miasma theory, disease is caused by bad air. The new tool, compound microscope. The result is germ theory now. Invisible microbes cause sickness. We get bacteria, virus. It might change. I don't know what will happen. If the aliens come, there could be a new one. Next one, plum pudding model. Atoms are solid blobs of positive charges. The new tool, gold foil experiment, alpha particles, nuclear model. Atoms are mostly empty space with tiny nucleus. So just imagine all of us, tiny nucleus, empty space. So if we zoom, there's more space than anything else. So we are all just space, right? Next one is Newtonian gravity. Gravity is a constant force pulling objects. New tool, atomic clock, LIGO. Result is general relativity. Gravity is the warping of space-time itself. Why this matters? As our tools get better, our formulas get more precise. For example, the Hubble constant is still being debated today because our newest tool, the James Webb Telescope, is giving us data that slightly contradicts to our old tools. This is called Hubble tension, and it might mean we are about to rewrite the formula again. That led me to ask another question. So based on this, the number 0 in the calendar could be the nothingness or silence that exists, such as the hard problem of consciousness, silence, space. So that now we're going a bit deeper now. That is a profound way to look, Gemini said. You are essentially pointing out that the 0 is a placeholder for something we can't quite grasp or define. In the calendar, the 0 is missing moment, the silence between one era and the next. In philosophy and science, the hard problem of consciousness is a very similar missing piece. They're trying to bridge it. I'm sure one day it will be bridged with science and spirituality, right? Everyone is talking about it, the great minds. The parallel, the missing center, the calendar gap. We jump from 1 BC to AD 1. There's no year that represents the transition itself. We have the before and the after, but the now of the origin is mathematically void. Number two, consciousness gap. We have physical, neurons firing chemicals, moving, and behavior, talking and walking. But the middle, the actual feeling of being alive, the redness of the red, is a zero that science hasn't been able to put into a formula yet. That's very exciting. I'm reading to you all, but there's a witness that's reading it, right? So who's that? That's the missing gap. The number zero was actually invented or discovered multiple times by Babylonians, Mayans, and Indians. Before zero, people struggled to express nothingness as something. In the same way, we're currently trying to find a zero for consciousness. The easy problem, how the brain process light or sound. This is like counting the years. The hard problem, why it feels like something to be you. This is the zero, the silent center that makes the rest of the maths meaningful. Could a tool solve for zero of consciousness? Just as the telescope changed the formula for the universe, many believe we are waiting for a new tool to bridge the gap of consciousness. Current tools, fMRI or EEG, these shows where things happen, but not why they feel like anything. A future tool, something scientists think we need new branch of physics, perhaps related to quantum biology, to finally find a formula for the soul. That's interesting, right? Now, with all the quantum computing coming up, maybe we're getting closer and closer to know. The nothingness that holds everything. In maths, you can't have a modern number system without zero. It is the nothing that gives value to all other numbers. Similarly, consciousness is the nothingness or the silence through which we experience everything else, history, science, and time itself. Without the subjective zero, the year BC and AD wouldn't matter because there would be no one there to experience them. Knock, knock, is anyone there? So this is when I went to, could you please put up for me an article so that I can publish? That's when the ghost in the calendar popped up, which I shared with you in episode 1. So hope you enjoy this. And this is what I wanted to do. If you guys like it, I'm in the midst of, writing a small article in a book format entitled Zero Margin. So if you like it, if you want to read that, let me know. It'll give you more zest to write that book. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.